Hello there, and welcome to the Stay Off My Lawn podcast, where we'll have a little fun, lots of laughs, and discussions on the common sense that needs to be applied to a lot of today's world news issues. And now, the disclaimer. Stay Off My Lawn is not intended as legal, medical, or financial advice. Void where prohibited. No purchase necessary to win. Open to legal U.S. residents 18 or older in the contiguous 48 states. Any resemblance to anyone living or deceased is purely coincidental. Actual price may vary. Only use as directed. Not a member of FDIC. And now, here are your hosts, Mike and Richard.
Even if we're not ready, here we go.
We're off and running.
Welcome to this week's episode of Stay Off My Lawn. It's April 15th, tax day for you procrastinators, 2025, and this is episode 113.
I'm sorry, I'm finishing mine, so I don't have to be up late.
You did finish yours. You got yours done early.
I finished mine and got my money.
Yeah,
so
me too. So
we're way done. It's like, oh, it's tax day. Oh yeah, I guess it is.
If you waited till today, you either own a business or you're a big procrastinator. So I got no sympathy for you. Anyway, we are going to kick it off with our new segment.
It's time for Stupid Holidays of the Week.
Yes, and today is National Laundry Day. It's a day to recognize the importance of laundry and the evolution of laundry technology. Something I did not think was a thing, but and manual methods to modern machines. When I was a kid, and you probably had the same thing, we didn't have a dryer. The dryer was the clothesline out in the backyard, and that was
Yes, it was. And I was involved with laundry for almost 30, right around 30 years.
Yeah. So
because I was industrial laundry, I am very familiar with it.
But I would imagine, I always thought about that. It's like if you lived up north and you had to do laundry in the wintertime, I mean, you put the wet clothes out. I mean, they froze, right? Didn't it?
Here's how it worked. You had a wooden deal that you sat in the tub is what we had, and it would fold down flat, and and then a piece would flip over and connect, and it would be 5 feet high, and stuff would lay over the wooden pegs in the tub, so it would drain down into the tub, and that's how ours worked at my house.
So you had a humid room in the house, which was that one.
Humidity. Idaho is really dry, so it was just a place where it would, drain down into the tub, and Mom would do laundry in the morning, and that's where it would be. And we had a big long clothesline with the metal poles that were welded with the T on the top of it, and there'd be about 5-6 strands that would go probably 25, 30 feet.
Yeah. I know in the summertime, we would get those afternoon thunderstorms in Florida. So Mom always had to do the laundry in the morning and put it out there and bring it down by 12 o'clock. And before the humidity got really bad, because nothing's drying in that humidity. Goodness gracious.
And now we've taken up all our time on this. So what are the others real quick?
Real quick. We started off the week on the 13th being National Make Lunch Count Day. It's observed annually on April 13th and encourages individuals to break away from their desks and enjoy a lunch break that includes socializing and refueling, something that sounds terrible to me, socializing. I'm not a big socializer, but we went out with friends after church and had a nice Apache chicken wrap on Sunday. So there's my socializing right there. So yesterday was National Ex-Spouse Day. Richard and I don't have any of these.
Don't know what that is.
It's observed annually and encourages individuals to move past any lingering negativity, anger, or resentment. So put the gun away.
I still have plenty of that, but I don't have an ex.
You just don't have anybody to aim it towards. I gotcha. Anyway, so there's focus on forgiveness and being in an amicable relationship with your exes. Wonderful. Good for you. Anyway, tomorrow is National Pajama Day. It's a day to cherish the joy of wearing pajamas all day long. So all I can think of
might happen going out tonight with some friends, and we will have a few barley pops, and it might just be jammy day all day.
Barley pops, I love it. Attention, Walmart shoppers! It's only one day a year for you weirdos. Come on now. So anyway, Thursday is International Bat Appreciation Day. It's a day to raise awareness about the crucial role bats play in the ecosystem and encourage their
Oh,
conservation.
not that kind of bat. Oh, I'm
not
sorry.
that kind of bat. No, not the one you would use on your spouse from 2 days ago. So if you see a bat, give it a hug, I suppose.
Today.
Oh gosh, it's bad today. Friday is World Amateur Radio Day. So if you're into ham radio, my brother was actually big into ham radio. Give a big CQ out there and enjoy. And then finally, Saturday is Husband Appreciation Day. I will sit back and wait for something good to happen to me on that day. It's a day to shower your husband with love and thank him for everything that he does. So I expect breakfast in bed or something. I'm not going to get it, but I'm going to expect it. I'll be happy just to wake up with her not holding a pillow over my face. So.
I'm so glad our wives don't listen to this.
Mine does. She catches up. She'll listen to like 4 episodes at a time. So she'll be mad at me about 2 weeks from now. I won't know why. Oh my gosh. Well, a couple of weeks ago, Bill Maher was invited to the White House by Kid Rock and Dana White. Dana White's the CEO of the MMA. Anyway, for a meeting with Trump, to kind of like to two camps to come together, and because they've been hypercritical of each other, and it was really a decent meeting supposedly. Bill started off his show the other day, described the meeting this way.
As you know, 12 days ago, I had dinner with President Trump, a dinner that was set up by my friend Kid Rock, because we share a belief that there's got to be something better than hurling insults from 3,000 miles away. And let me first say that to all the people who treated this like it was some kind of summit meeting, you're ridiculous. Like I was going to sign a treaty or something. I have no power. I'm a f***ing comedian, and he's the most powerful leader in the world. I'm not the leader of anything, except maybe a contingent of centrist-minded people who think there's got to be a better way of running this country than hating each other every minute. So, thank you. So meet up in person. Maybe it'll be different. Spoiler alert, it was. First good sign, before I left for the Capitol, I had my staff collect and print out this list of almost 60 different insulting epithets that the president has said about me. Things like stupid, dummy, lowlife dummy, sleazebag, sick, sad, stone cold crazy. Really a dumb guy, fired like a dog, his show is dead. There's 60. I brought this to the White House because I wanted him to sign it, which he did. Which he did with good humor. And I know as I say that, millions of liberal sphincters just tightened. Oh my God, Bill, are you going to say something nice about him? What I'm going to do is report exactly what happened. You decide what you think about it. And if that's not enough pure Trump hate for you, I don't give a fuck.
He's honest. I mean, the one thing about Bill, and I still disagree with a lot of things that he has to say. I'm sure you do too. But at least he's honest about who he is. He's honest when somebody is decent and when they're not. He went into some detail about how this meeting went. And I think it's important for all of us to hear the human side of Trump that he did not know existed, that he saw. And so I'd like to play that for everybody.
The mainstream media won't report on that because that makes him out to look like a good guy, and they don't want that to happen.
Well, they try to dehumanize him by calling him Hitler and yeah. So I mean, why would you want to?
It's getting old, and people are not listening to those news outlets. They are dropping like a lead rock.
As they should. I mean, if you're going to be dishonest with if you're in the media and you're dishonest about anybody or anything, and Richard and I try to be completely honest about everybody. We'll show the good, the bad, and the ugly on the Republicans and Democrats. And, sometimes you don't like that. Sometimes you do. But I think that at least calling balls and strikes and playing it down the middle is the way to go. Anyway, Bill Maher goes on to give you a little bit more detail. So here we go.
So MAGA fans, don't worry. Your boy gave me nothing. Just hats hats and a very generous amount of time and a willingness to listen and accept me as a possible friend, even though I'm not MAGA, which was the point of the dinner. My favorite part of the whole night was we were standing in the blow room.
Reference to Clinton.
We were. And he said, you know, I've heard from a lot of people who really like that we're having this dinner. Not all, but a lot. And I said, same. A lot of people told me they loved it, but not all. And we agreed. The people who don't even want us to talk, we don't like you. Don't talk, as opposed to what? Writing the same editorial for the millionth time and making 25-hour speeches into the wind? Really, that's what liberals have? He takes the piss out of everybody else and we can hold ours? Okay, that's my report. You can hate me for it, but I'm not a liar. Trump was gracious and measured, and why he isn't that in other settings, I don't know, and I can't answer, and it's not my place to answer. I'm just telling you what I saw, and I wasn't high. Damn, missed opportunity. Now, does Trump want respect? Of course, who doesn't? My friend said to me, what are you going to wear to the White House? I said, I don't know, but I'm not going to dress like Zelensky, I'll tell you that. But, okay. Just for starters, he laughs. I'd never seen him laugh in public, but he does, including at himself. And it's not fake. Believe me, as a comedian of 40 years, I know a fake laugh when I hear it. And I thank you for them. No. At one point, we were walking through it is an amazing tour of the whole house. And I don't remember exactly what we were talking about, but it must have been something with the 2020 election, because I know he used the word lost. And I distinctly remember saying, wow, I never thought I'd hear you say that. He didn't get mad. He's much more self-aware than he lets on in public. Look, I get it. It doesn't matter who he is at a private dinner with a comedian. It matters who he is on the world stage. I'm just taking as a positive that this person exists, because everything I've ever not liked about him was, I swear to God, absent, at least on this night with this guy. There were so many moments when I hit him with a joke or contradicted something, and no problem. I told him I thought parts of his plan for Gaza were wacky, but that I had supported him in the idea that Gaza could be Dubai instead of hell. I told him he was wrong when he tweeted the night before that I was critical of all things Trump. Not true. Check the tapes. Moving Israel's embassy to Jerusalem, loved it. The border did need to be controlled. I'm glad the cops are getting their morale back. DEI had gone too far. Biological men shouldn't be playing women's sports. Europe should pay for their defense. And of course, it makes sense that Arab countries should take in Arab refugees, like the million Syrians who wound up in Germany when Saudi Arabia took none. He said to me, you're right, they took none. I said, well, you should remind your boyfriend in Saudi Arabia that the next time you see him. He laughed. I never felt I had to walk on eggshells around him. And honestly, I voted for Clinton and Obama, but I would never feel comfortable talking to them the way I was able to talk with Donald Trump. That's just how it went down. Make of it what you will. Me, I feel it's emblematic of why the Democrats are so unpopular these days.
And didn't you see where Democrats were even down to 21% now? Is that what you're
Yes,
talking about?
that's the latest one that I saw, and I wish I should keep better track of this stuff, but I went, excuse me, what? And it was a Democrat who was saying it, so I'm going to take it as that's what it is. And it was that guy who does all the polls that's way over enthusiastic, that has almost as much coffee as we've had today. If you've seen him,
I think so,
he was the one that was talking about it, and I do not remember what poll it was. And then there was another Democrat that said the same thing, that we're down to 21%. So, they're going the wrong direction.
Yeah.
They think just keep doing what we've done, and you're not getting the results you've always got. You're getting nothing. People are going, yeah, no, that's communism. We're not going with that.
Yeah. And it seems to have like clung to the extreme part of the party instead of what the party has kind of always been, where, and I don't remember, it was Bill Maher or somebody was saying 30, 40 years ago, they didn't hate each other's guts. I think it was Bill that was in a different monologue. They didn't hate each other's guts. Tip O'Neill and Reagan would sit and have lunch and have coffee, and they would get along just fine. They just had different views on how to fix whatever ills we had as a country.
And they could come
Not
to
like that
some
anymore.
sort of a somewhat consensus of, well, okay, that's not what I want. It's not what you want, but it's close enough that this is good for the American people,
Right.
and it would move on.
Like you said, there's a consensus. You could
Yeah.
make a little compromise on both sides. I think that ship has sailed. I don't think there's any room for that anymore. We will talk about the SAVE Act here in a little bit, but I mean, 4 Democrats actually crossed over and voted for it, which I did not expect. I thought it was going to go right along party lines, but and so maybe that's a glimmer of hope. I don't know. Anyway, we're up against a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about 2 news stories that is a little sad and a little alarming, not necessarily fun, but it's something that's in the news and we probably should talk about. So hang in there. We'll be right back.
This is the Stay Off My Lawn show and podcast. The grumpy old men you know and love. We'll be right back.
Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius. Today we salute you, Mr. Camouflage Suit Maker.
Mr. Camouflage Suit Maker.
Your amazing skills of deception can trick a deer into thinking we're just a tree out for a walk, or a shrub having a cup of coffee.
Shrub having coffee.
Tirelessly you perfect your artistry, the squiggly black line, the blob, the slightly larger blob, all in spectacular shades of green.
Green, green, and green.
Thanks to you, we look fabulous in or out of the forest, with a suit that can be easily accessorized with face paint and a few twigs.
Dressed to kill.
So crack open an ice-cold Bud Light, Mr. Camouflage Suit Maker, because when it comes to blending in, you really stand out.
Mr. Camouflage Suit Maker.
Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Welcome back to Stay Off My Lawn, segment 2, and we're going to look at a tragic story out of Wisconsin. Did you hear about this? A Wisconsin teenager who killed his parents?
And had this whole manifesto on his phone about this, that, and it's like, really? You think that taking out the president is going to kill the whole government's going to go down by just taking out the president? There's a lot of good people behind him, and there's a whole lot of people in line that would do a pretty darn good job at the moment. So it's
including
not
one of
gonna
his senators, Ron Johnson, would be a great president.
Yes.
I think. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, there's just a ton of people in line to move on down the road with.
Yep.
We haven't been in this position before, but this is just.
I mean, it was bad enough.
The rhetoric gets to some of these people who are not mentally stable anyway.
Exactly.
And all of this negative rhetoric that comes out, I'm going to leave that word instead of other things I want to say.
BS, maybe?
Rhetoric, an authentic Western rhetoric.
I can't hear the H. Say it again.
Anyhow, all it does is just fuels all these people.
And you see a lot of these young people, I mean, on the left and on the right, it's like they're all very emotional. Everything is just, there's the rational thought seems to be sucked out of the minds of these young people somehow. And they just can't decipher good from bad or evil from good or anything. But
and they think that's the thing to do. And they see, wow, there's 30,000, 35,000. And they go, no, at best there was 25,000. And of the 25,000, most of them were paid to be there.
Yeah,
not just a few of them. Most of them were paid to be there. So it's just getting ridiculous. You're putting it out there like this is how everybody else thinks.
Right.
Some bozo said that on CNN. I don't know who the guy was, but 99% of the internet thinks like I do. What? Who anointed you king of the world? What the hell are you talking about? I mean, that's just how delusional they are, that my views is what everybody, no, not even your own party members who are leaving in droves because of it.
Right. I think these teenagers too look at social media, and if you click around enough on social media, it's probably not good for you to do that at any age. But you see a lot of these people just freaking out that Trump is, he's elected and he's a dictator and he's doing all, but they really have no substance behind it. Every time I see any kind of man on the street interview where they ask him, it's like, well, what has he done so far that you hate so bad? And they can't answer. There's no answer. It's all about emotion. It's all about a movement that they know nothing about.
Might as well be carrying a big club and go, ugh, Dawn man bad, orange man no good.
Exactly.
Ugh.
Exactly.
So go back to your cave and shut up.
I don't know. Was it ever brought out why this teenager killed his parents? I mean, did he say that in the manifesto?
I think he was that disturbed, and they were telling him, no, you don't. He may have talked to them about it, something to that effect. But I have not seen the whole manifesto, because that's one of the things that the left media will not put out there. It's like, ooh, this is all against, this is bad for us, so we're not going to talk about it.
Speaking of the media, this is, I think it's an ABC. No. I forgot what it was, but up in Wisconsin anyway, this is how the news reported on it.
Tonight, 17-year-old Nikita Kassip, already charged with the chilling double murder of his Wisconsin parents, now in the FBI's crosshairs for, investigators believe, plotting to kill President Donald Trump, according to newly unsealed federal court documents. The news stunning the small city of Waukesha. This FBI affidavit saying authorities found in the teen's phone a manifesto calling for the assassination of the President of the United States in order to foment a political revolution and promote white supremacy, along with materials linking him to a neo-Nazi extremist group. Investigators writing Kassip in messages with someone said he planned to use a drone in the attack that would drop a bomb with nuts, bolts, needles, and then flee to Ukraine. The affidavit stating Kassip had paid for, at least in part, a drone and explosives and was communicating with someone with a Ukrainian number. It did not say where or when he allegedly planned to target the president. This after, back in late February, local authorities during a welfare check found the teen's parents shot to death in the family home. The affidavit saying the couple had been dead for roughly 2 weeks and Kassip living in the home with their bodies, then fleeing before he was arrested in Kansas. Investigators writing the killing of his parents appeared to be an effort to obtain the financial means and autonomy necessary to carry out his plan.
So he killed his parents to get the money, apparently, so it seems,
So he had money. He had like $14,000 on him or something, I heard. He was also part of a satanic cult.
Yeah.
Funny how they left that part out.
Well, yeah, because he's, normally they try to paint the right as the white supremacists and the neo-Nazis and everything. But apparently he's not on our side. I mean, he's on.
No. Yeah. And who knows? The parents might have been, and he disagreed with them, and
maybe
these things that he belonged to were telling him otherwise, and he figured, well, they're right. My parents are a couple of idiots, and it's just sad what all this rhetoric, I'm going to stay with that word, because it has led to. I mean, it's just you listen to what I've had friends that recently tell me stuff. Oh, there's like, oh, you've been watching CNN again, haven't you? Well, yeah, that's the new. Okay, MSNBC, CNN, either one of them. Doesn't make any difference. Nope. I like to check MSNBC for what just took place and how they spin and flip it around to where that's not at all what they said and definitely isn't what they meant. But they're spinning it. They're still trying to push this horrible, horrible negative rhetoric toward Americans.
Well, the mainstream media seems like they will cater whatever the news is and adjust it to fit their agenda. It's all about an agenda, and their agenda right now is to paint Trump as a terrible, terrible person that deserves to be plotted against, to be killed. Apparently, he's had
50% agree with that. He should be. How what kind of people are you talking to? Good Lord.
It's evil.
That's just okay. Yeah, that's something that's all right. No, it's not.
I think it's typical for a teenager to think that their parents are wrong and they're misguided or whatever. I think that I'm sure I thought that same way. But man, that's taken a little bit too far. And I really blame a lot of the way the mainstream media twists things, like you said, the spin that they put on things, and social media with all these people that are just these 50%, like you talked about, that thinks that he ought to be assassinated. They're on social media spouting that whole hate, and everybody.
Well,
thinks it's
and the
normal.
indoctrination that you get when you send your kids off to the little indoctrination camps, and with all the liberals that say this is what should be,
Right.
that's not good either, especially on very impressionable youth.
Yep.
That's just wrong what they do.
Absolutely. And in an effort to be totally fair, people who would seem to agree politically with our side of the aisle and are sometimes evil and whacked out as well. Here is a local ABC News report in Pennsylvania about the horrific events at the governor's mansion there, which we completely think is terrible. Here we go.
An arrest has been made in the arson case at Governor Josh Shapiro's home. Right now, we know the suspect is in the hospital and he will not be arraigned today. The governor's family was at home at the time of the fire, with extended family in the home to celebrate Passover. ABC's Andrew Dimbert has the details on the distraction done.
Authorities in Pennsylvania have announced an arrest in the arson investigation at Governor Josh Shapiro's official residence. 38-year-old Cody Balmer is expected to face charges including attempted murder, terrorism, arson, and assault.
He clearly had a plan. He was very methodical in his approach and moved through it without a lot of hurry.
Flames broke out at the governor's mansion in Harrisburg around 2 a.m. yesterday when Shapiro, a 2024 vice presidential contender, and his family were asleep inside.
State troopers assigned to our detail banged on our door, woke us up, and told us we had an emergency and needed to leave immediately. Together, we secured all of our children, our 2 dogs, our family that was staying with us.
Authorities say the suspect hopped a fence and used what sources described as a Molotov cocktail to start the fire, causing significant damage. Sources say Balmer is a mechanic who has expressed disdain for Democrats on social media, primarily related to financial issues. Authorities are also looking at whether the attack on the first night of Passover was motivated by Shapiro's Jewish faith. Just hours before the fire, Shapiro shared this photo of his family's Seder table on social media, apparently the same room that was later engulfed in flames.
Lori and I are overwhelmed by the prayers.
Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
Yeah, I feel so bad for him. I mean, we certainly don't see things politically the same, but I mean, if he was targeted because he's Jewish, I mean, how in the world, and this is a right winger. This is a guy that agrees with us probably politically on almost everything. The guy who perpetrated this, I got no sympathy for him at all. He needs to be under the jail.
That's put him away for, if it would have been in earlier times, he would be at the end of a rope shortly.
Absolutely.
So this is stuff we don't agree with. It happens to be a Republican thug.
Yep.
Not any different than a Democratic thug.
Nope.
That should never, I don't wish that kind of stuff on anybody. Neither one of us do.
No,
and that's not something that should have ever happened to begin with. Whether he was a Democrat, a Republican, whether he was Jewish or not, that's not what we do in this country.
No, fellow human beings should be, in this country, we still have the First Amendment, where if you want to praise or worship Allah or the God of Israel or whatever, I mean, that's up to you. And nobody should be targeted because of that. And I'm not assuming, but that is the assumption here that it's going on. Plus, this guy just hated Democrats. Again, you've got people on the right that will stoke those fires and get everybody all excited. And, it's like, look, we just have a difference of opinion. And yes, I think it's evil that they're saying abortion is okay up to 9 months and the whole thing and having men and women's sports. We can talk about all that. And I think that's terrible to do that. But does anybody who holds that opinion need to be killed or need to be attacked? No. This is where the men are separated from the boys, I think. I don't know. Anyway,
and then we got, boy, this is the bad news section of the day.
I know. I'm really sorry we recorded this part. We do have another story here I think we can get to. We'll probably end up going a little bit over on this. But supposedly there was someone from Maryland deported on this big mass deportation that has been started, thought to be a member of a gang and supposedly was not. Kind of complicated. But here's the press conference with El Salvadorian President Bukele in supporting lines from Attorney General Pambandi and Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller is really good. Here we go.
Let's hear the question from this very low-rated anchor at CB.
Thank you, President. Do you plan to ask President Bukele to help return the man who your administration says was mistakenly deported? The man who was mistakenly deported to El Salvador?
Well, let me ask Pam, would you answer that question?
Sure, President. First and foremost, he was illegally in our country. He had been illegally in our country. And in 2019, two courts, an immigration court and an appellate immigration court, ruled that he was a member of MS-13 and he was illegally in our country. Right now, it was additional paperwork had needed to be done. That's up to El Salvador if they want to return him. That's not up to us. The Supreme Court ruled, President, that if, as El Salvador wants to return him, this is international matters, foreign affairs. If they wanted to return him, we would facilitate it, meaning provide a plane.
So will you return him, President
And
Bukele?
you are doing a great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stephen Miller, wait a minute. Can you just also respond to that question? Because, it's asked by CNN, and they always ask it with a slant because they're totally slanted because they don't know what's happening. That's why nobody's watching them. But would you answer that question also, please?
Yes, gladly. So, as Pam mentioned, there's an illegal alien from El Salvador. So, with respect to you, he's a citizen of El Salvador. So, it's very arrogant even for American media to suggest that we would even tell El Salvador how to handle their own citizens as a starting point. As two immigration courts found that he was a member of MS-13. When President Trump declared MS-13 to be a foreign terrorist organization, that meant that he was no longer eligible under federal law, which I'm sure you know, you're very familiar with the INA, that he was no longer eligible for any form of immigration relief in the United States. So we had a deportation order that was valid, which meant that under our law, he's not even allowed to be present in the United States and had to be returned because of the foreign terrorist designation. This issue was then, by a district court judge, completely inverted, and a district court judge tried to tell the administration that they had to kidnap a citizen of El Salvador and fly him back here. That issue was raised to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said the district court order was unlawful and its main components were reversed 9-0 unanimously, stating clearly that neither Secretary of State nor the President could be compelled by anybody to forcibly retrieve a citizen of El Salvador from El Salvador, who again is a member of MS-13, which, as I'm sure you understand, rapes little girls, murders women, murders children, is engaged in the most barbaric activities in the world, and I can promise you if he was your neighbor, you would move right away.
So you don't plan to ask for him to get him back?
And what was the ruling in the Supreme Court, Steve? Was it 9-0?
Yes, it was a 9-0
in our favor.
In our favor, against the district court ruling, saying that no district court has the power to compel the foreign policy function of the United States. As Pam said, the ruling solely stated that if this individual, at El Salvador's sole discretion, was sent back to our country, that we could deport him a second time. No version of this legally ends up with him ever living here because he is a citizen of El Salvador. That is the president of El Salvador. Your questions about it, per the court, can only be directed to him.
I asked President
Bukele,
can President Bukele weigh in on this? Do you plan to return him?
Well, I'm supposed to be not suggesting that I smuggle a terrorist into the United States, right?
It's always
how can I smuggle? How can I return him to the United States? Like, I smuggle him into the United States, or what do I do? Of course, I'm not going to do it. It's like, the question is preposterous. How can I smuggle a terrorist into the United States? I don't have the power to return him to the United States.
It's a ridiculous question. I love the way he answered that.
Yeah, it's like, no, they kept saying no, 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 no. And then she goes, I still want to know, are you going to return him? what part of no did you not get? And here's the other thing that was hilarious yesterday. You may not have heard about this, but Trump said, it's CNN and they really do hate America. Well, CNN actually said on their show, and we do want to report that as CNN, we do not hate America. They had to say that we don't. I thought that was the best thing I heard all day yesterday.
If you have to have a disclaimer where you say you don't hate the country that you live in, oh my gosh, what does that tell you? What is that?
I know. So I didn't think you'd heard that. I just happened to catch that little blip, and it was like, that was hilarious.
That's fantastic. Fantastic. I need to find that. We'll play it next week if I can find it. Hey, we're way over a break, so let's do that. When we come back, we're going to hear from Stacey Abrams, which, you just can never get enough of her. So
the best how-to book ever on how to get $2 billion, on how to be a $2 billionaire.
I'm sure that's coming up. I mean, it's got to be. So hang in there. We'll be right back.
The Stay Off My Lawn podcast is recorded before a live studio audience.
Having a rough day? Do you find yourself acting irrationally? Do you get mistaken as a hyena when you laugh? Or do word salads occur frequently? Now there's help. Introducing Trumpanol. Trumpanol is designed specifically for those suffering with Trump derangement syndrome. Don't allow TDS to control your life anymore. Trumpanol is fast-acting, delivering relief from the stress of campaign season. Side effects may include registering as a Republican or voting for Donald Trump. Consult with your doctor before taking Trumpanol.
Welcome back to Stay Off My Lawn. Segment 3. Oh, gosh.
There are things we can't say off the air.
I know it. Goodness gracious. It had to do with food this time, so.
Speaking of food.
Speaking here's Stacey Abrams, somebody who's never missed lunch. And I don't know if you feel this way, but one of my biggest pet peeves are people that are arrogant. It's like people who just think way too highly, even if they're good. If Michael Jordan was arrogant, which I guess maybe he was a little bit, but I mean, at least he was the best in the world at what he did. And
he was confident arrogance. Exactly. There's a little bit, and his confidence bore out when what he did. So,
right. And he didn't really come across that way. I mean, I don't even think Tiger Woods
didn't
came
find
across
him to be
way.
that bad. No.
And Tiger Woods was the best in the world at what he did. And it's like, but you never really saw that it really come out all that heavy. You got some people that are super, super arrogant, like we were talking about last segment about CNN. They're so full of themselves for no good reason.
Wow.
Anyway, this one is Stacey Abrams. Is it not weird when somebody tells a story where they're the hero of the story? It's like, if it's a made-up story, it's like, this person called Mike came in there and he really fixed things. And it's like, no, that's just, it's a bad look. It's the best I can put it.
Or to be arrogant, we would say, yes, the 40 countries that we're heard in is just so lovely. We are so well received.
Whenever I talk to people, that's the first thing that comes out of my mouth, though, to be honest. We're in 40 countries. Yeah. Doggone it. We got to be doing something right. Anyway.
Damn straight. We pretend real good.
Stacey Abrams has written a book, and she put herself on social media with a 45-second clip explaining herself. And here's how that went.
Hi, this is Stacey Abrams, author of the new children's book, Stacey Speaks Up. It's a book about a child, Stacey, who discovers that one of her classmates can't afford lunch. And when the adults aren't willing to take action, she does. I wanted to write this book to emphasize how important it is for children to find their voices, that empathy and advocacy is how we make the world better. If you like the story, make sure you pick it up for a little one in your life and learn something along the way yourself. We are excited to launch today at the Brooklyn Academy of Music, and then our next stop will be in Baltimore. So whether you pick me up online, pick me up in a local bookstore, or just read about it wherever you are, make sure that you pick up a copy of Stacey Speaks Up.
And I can't disagree with the premise. If somebody is needing something, then stepping up and doing the right thing is probably is a good thing for sure. But when you're the hero of your own story, oh my gosh.
Okay. Yay! You did it. I thought it was going to, and I'm so disappointed because I wanted to know how to become an instant billionaire. I'm really bummed that it's not how to win friends and influence them with $2 billion from the federal government who gets their money from, let's think about it. That's right. Us, the taxpayers.
That's right. But didn't you say they pulled that back? The funding?
But it didn't get there. There was a lot of that kind of stuff that was pulled back because it's like, no, you got $100 in the bank.
Yeah, I was just going to say
for your thing, and it was going to be a test market thing in one of your little small towns in Georgia,
somewhere in
Dothan?
South Georgia. No, Dothan's in Alabama. It's down that way though. Yeah.
Yeah, it's somewhere I can't remember the name of it, but it's like, give me a break.
But yeah,
they looked at that and went, yeah, no.
They were putting like new appliances in somebody's house and in a handful of people's houses. And it's like
in a town that you could have bought all new appliances for every single house in town wouldn't even have been $1 million.
Yeah. But they needed $20 billion. And didn't they have
$2 billion? $2 billion. Let's not give her more than she actually needs.
But didn't she only have like 60 days or 90 days to kind of distribute all of it? And then she had to take a class on how to run books, to keep.
Yeah, you have to for charity how to run books. It's like you don't even know you're making them do that, and you're still giving them $2 billion. What? Because that money was going to be distributed, not to the people in the little town that needed the new appliances. I can tell you that.
I think she's worth like $8 million. And supposedly when she first ran for governor, which is what she's famous for, is losing the governor's race twice. But I think when she first ran, if I remember the commercials correctly, she was talking about that she was worth, because she used to take care of her mother, this whole thing. And I don't know how true any of that is, but she was worth negative. And she was worth nothing. Now all of a sudden she's ran for governor twice and lost. Now she's worth over $8 million. Really? How does that work? I mean,
it's something. She was going to be worth a whole lot more than that real soon, but it's how much do you really need? And what do you, but it was going to go to all kinds of Democratic.
Oh yeah.
Darn good and well, it's just money laundering and they've been finding it out. That's why the Democrats are just crying up a storm when everything with USAID was, what was it, like 95% were going to all left-leaning programs? Yeah.
That's why there's
some of them you go, what? Tiddlywinks and how to play it underwater, and you're giving them $5 million?
And maybe I'm not remembering correctly, but I think it was only like between 3 and 5% of those programs are still in place, and they got shifted over to the Department of State, I think it is. And,
yes.
So I mean, so the rest of them were just wasteful stuff. I mean, like you said, it was transgender play in Colombia. It's like, I don't think the average Colombian cares about a transgender play. I bet there was nobody in the audience. It's just, and then they had the pottery. I think we talked about this before, the pottery classes in Morocco, which I bet they've been making pottery since long before America even existed.
Been at it a while. Yeah. Why do they need our money to help them make pottery is what I want to know.
It just kills me. And I bet not one person went over to actually Morocco to do anything like that. That all just went into somebody's offshore account.
Yep, that's what's been happening. It's just been money laundering.
And you don't even have to put it on the line.
At its best.
Like we were talking about before. You don't even have to hang it out. So
or money laundering at its worst. I don't know, whichever.
I think you're right. It's at its worst.
Yeah. Anywho's.
An ex-Facebook executive last year testified in front of Congress some time ago.
This is BS laundering at its
Yes, it is. Oh my gosh. And it still stunk. But it didn't catch much immediate attention when it first happened. So we just thought we'd bring it up again. Here's how that went.
My name is Sarah Wynne-Williams, and I served as the Director of Global Public Policy at Facebook, now Meta, for nearly 7 years, starting in 2011. Throughout those 7 years, I saw Meta executives repeatedly undermine US national security and betray American values. They did these things in secret to win favor with Beijing and build an $18 billion business in China. We are engaged in a high-stakes AI arms race against China. And during my time at Meta, company executives lied about what they were doing with the Chinese Communist Party to employees, shareholders, Congress, and the American public. I sit before this committee today to set the record straight about these illegal and dangerous activities. Meta's dishonesty started with the betrayal of core American values. Mark Zuckerberg pledged himself a free speech champion. Yet I witnessed Meta work hand in glove with the Chinese Communist Party to construct and test custom-built censorship tools that silenced and censored their critics.
And, what is Jack? I can't remember the guy's name from Twitter. He was doing the same kind of things. It's like as soon as you put anything out there that was Dorsey, that's it, Jack Dorsey. And he made lots and lots of money doing all that. And there was Congress people that he shadow banned. I mean, social media is just a construct of the left. It just is.
Yeah, and it's I love. She could tell you to go take a flying leap at a rolling donut, and it would be saying, "Why? Thank you. I think I will." I mean,
I couldn't tell if it was Australian or
no, it's not.
English.
It was rather RP from Britain, and she was very articulate and quite well spoken, and
Like
could be
said,
upset about stuff and never get flustered.
like you said, could dress you down and have you think that she likes my shoes. Oh my gosh!
Yeah, that's basically he was so full of it they had to bring the shovel in 3 times.
Yeah. And just because you've seen Zuckerberg come in and kiss the ring of Trump and everything right now, don't think that they're on our side now, or don't think they're on the side of free speech or American values, like she was saying. I mean, don't be deceived. These people do not like free speech in any way, shape, or form. Thankfully, Twitter has changed and it's back to where it ought to be. But anyway, it's just not going well. It's not going well.
No, it's he basically came in and just lied his Patushka off, posterior, whatever else you want to call it.
Again, he's not a real boy. He can't be.
Yeah, they haven't cut the strings yet. Is he a real boy?
Oh, boy. The media and the lefties in Congress are doubling down on fear-mongering again, preying on the lower IQ people or just uninformed. I guess maybe I shouldn't say lower IQ, but this time it's about the SAVE Act. And we've talked about that many times on this program, that it didn't pass Congress the first time. Was it last year, middle of last year they tried to run it? The SAVE Act.
Something like that, yeah.
It's about everybody having to show ID to vote, basically, is all it is. And of course, now that it is actually passed the House of Representatives, which we actually had 4 Democrats vote for it in the House. Everybody's fear-mongering again, saying that it's going to take away your right. 81 million women, I think I saw it the other day, that are going to lose their right to vote because they're married. And because they don't have their original birth certificate, doesn't match their driver's license because they got their married name on it. Oh, my goodness gracious.
Oh, and Medicaid's going to get cut. And you're just not going to be able to vote. I mean, these people are just, you go in, and I've seen a man on the street where when they were saying that during the election time was asking all the folks in the D.C. area, no, he was in the Bronx, and he went there and goes, well, this would be an area where they say, oh, they can't get an ID. Well, of course I got an ID. But who doesn't have an ID? You got to have an ID to even go get a book out of the library. So they're just going, why would you ask me that? Because the Democratic Party says you're just dumber than a box of rocks and you just don't know how to do it. There's no Kinko's next to you.
Oh, my gosh. I remember her saying
or anybody
that.
else for that matter.
But the black people I know think that's just rude to say that just because I have melanin in my skin more than the average white person, then I can't go get an ID. That's just ridiculous. That it's demeaning. It's. If I was black, I would be mad as I could be about all that somebody would assume that. And I know a lot of the people who we follow online are mad about that. But as far as this kind of thing goes, this marriage, just because you're married and it doesn't match your birth certificate, you're not going to be able to vote. Kat Comic, the congresswoman from Florida, was on the House floor the other day.
I love her. She's awesome.
She is good. Here she is.
My friend over here keeps pointing out that women in every single congressional district will have to provide proof of their name change in order to vote. Folks, read the bill, page 14. If you are registering to vote, there is a process by which the states establish. If you are already registered to vote, you are fine. Read the bill. Stop insulting women. I am sick and tired, and I know women across this country are sick and tired of being talked down to and being insulted repeatedly with the fear-mongering tactics of the left. It is disingenuous for them to stand there and continue to say that women will not be eligible to vote.
Again, it's insulting. And it's obvious. She pointed out the pages, the page 14 that's on. It's like, just got to read the bill. And they're just being, she called them out on being dishonest, which
and they don't read the bill. They make up a narrative, and that's what everybody has to go with. All of a sudden, you start hearing the same word everywhere on the lefties.
Yep.
The lefty congressmen, lefty senators, lefty news, all have the same phraseology because they've been given to it. Just like when the protesters who are there organically, which they're not, to go to a protest thing, they're handed a deal of how to do a chant. Here's what the chants are, get together and figure out which one you want to do, and then you can read it off oh my Lord, that's ridiculous.
Probably just go around and trolling the vegan cafes and saying, come with us. Because it's, if you look at the crowd of people, none of those people are meat eaters. Look at them. They're all... They're either super fat or they're super skinny, and they just all look unhealthy. So,
yep.
Anyway, we're up against a break. When we come back, we're going to hear a little bit of a man on the street interview thing where they talk to people still wearing masks 5 years past COVID. And it's really kind of funny. So hang in there. We'll be right back.
I have people, lots of people, practically everyone asks me to say hi to Mike and Richard for them. They're great guys. The greatest, you might say.
Put a frog in boiling water and it'll jump right out. But put a frog in cool water and slowly heat it up, that frog will boil. As veterans, we tell ourselves the lie that we can handle anything. We let the water boil. You are not a frog. If you or a veteran needs support, don't wait. Reach out. Find resources at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach. Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
All right, welcome back to Stay Off My Lawn, segment 4. And we've got, that press conference they had the other day with President Bukele from El Salvador. Trump made it. You had mentioned it. You actually just sent this to me.
When they had it, and it was, I saw it on a news segment somewhere, and during the break, I looked it up, and we didn't want to let this go by today. So they actually had, when Trump said, they really hate our country. They hate the United States. So they made Dana Bash disavow that no, we don't.
If somebody said that we hated America, we just kind of blow it off. It's like, well, it's obvious that we do. You just got to listen to a couple episodes and you're like, they love America. This is why we live here. This is why it's home. If I hated it, I would leave. But anyway, it tells a lot when you have to defend yourself after somebody says you hate America. So here's how that sounded. It's really, really good.
Been listening to a lengthy live press conference inside the Oval Office with the leader of El Salvador, Bukele, where we have heard a lot of bits of information, a lot of news nuggets that we want to definitely focus on, a lot of some misinformation as well. But we want to digest all of this right now with our terrific panel here and our reporters. Jeff Zeleny, I want to start with you. You are at the White House. Before I get to you, I just want to say, for the record, since we heard President Trump say in the Oval Office that CNN hates our country, CNN does not hate our country. That should go without saying. I've been here for 32 years, and I see a rhetorical device in him trying to say such a thing.
She was going to somebody else, and somebody was in her ear saying,
Absolutely.
"Well, but first we need to clear this up right now. You have to disavow something that's as stupid as that." And what did they do? They call it our country. They can't say the United States. Nope. They can't say the United States of America. They can't even say America. It's our country.
Yeah. Yep. It just, but you listen to the way she was kind of like humming and hawing. If you and I did that, I would be a little bit more open to going back and editing things out that we don't edit anything. Basically,
nope. You get our screw ups, hide, hair, tail, and all.
If we jack it up, we jack it up. But I mean, there's not a whole lot of. I'm not sure what to say. No, we never run out of things to say. But she's a professional of 32 years, she said, and she's still having issues. So I don't know.
I just thought that was hilarious. It just stopped me. I was doing stuff in the house, and I went, "Wait, what was that?" I backed it up and went, "Oh, you got to be kidding me!"
But you're right, though. Somebody was in her ear because she was going to go to that guest.
Yes.
Before we do that, let's clear this up. We don't hate America.
And she only mentioned, we were at the White House and with a press conference with the president of El Salvador, not with Trump and the president. No, he was not mentioned at all.
Oh my gosh, it just keeps getting worse for them. But like I said, if you got to start off saying, "Look, I don't hate America," just so you know, you're in a bad place.
And you cannot find that, by the way, folks, on the CNN site. It isn't there. I had to find it on the Fox site.
You would think they'd have that clipped to the top of their page, just so everybody who goes there knows that they. Well, then again, maybe their listenership, maybe they say that they don't hate America or our country. Maybe that would send away the last few stragglers who are still listening to the channel. I don't know.
Their ratings are so low. They're below the lowest stuff that's on the Food Network. It's pathetic.
Which is worse, MSNBC or CNN? I haven't seen the numbers.
Oh, MSNBC is horrible for what they say. But the number wise, it's neck and neck. Who's going to get to the bottom first? And they're in a race, and down they go.
I was talking to an older family member. You and I were talking about it off the air.
Oh yeah.
That CNN, as far as the mainstream media, CNN specifically, they had to move out. They had a beautiful Twin Towers type thing down in Atlanta where they had a big atrium in the middle where you could have lunch. They had all these different outlets where you could buy food, and you took a tour. You could see headline news as it was broadcast. I mean, we took the big tour. This is years and years ago we did this, and it was fascinating. I mean, it's neat to get behind the scenes. This is long before they went all full on socialist and everything, but it was neat. And now they've had to sell that building and go to their, I think you said it was their original.
Their original, where they originally started, just a small studio thing. They're down to where, they're sucking wind. And MSNBC, two of their hosts, Rachel Maddow being one of them, there's a $30 million lawsuit.
Yeah.
So, and they lost that in court. So,
Well, they're trying to renegotiate all the contracts and everything.
Well, that's why NBC wants to dump them. We don't want to be part of this because NBC got part of that.
Right.
Because they got deeper pockets. NBC does not have deep pockets. They are still part of NBC, and they are still trying to sell it and get rid of it, and nobody wants it.
Well, who would? I mean, it's a Titanic going down, and it's like, why would anybody want to jump on that? Anyway, well, it's not just us, but some inquiring minds want to know, 5 years post-COVID, why some people are still wearing a mask, especially outside or in their car.
By themselves.
By themselves, exactly. I've seen them in the ocean. I've seen pictures of people in the ocean swimming with a mask over their face. It's like, you got to be freaking kidding me.
Out that way.
They did a man on the street type interview. This looked like it was New York City or whatever, but anyway, here's how that little question went to people who were actively wearing masks in 2025.
Why are you wearing a mask outside?
It feels weird not to. I just like it. I got used to it. I don't mind wearing it. I guess I'm just used to it, I guess.
I just have it on. I forgot it was on. You forgot it was on? Are you vaccinated? Why are you wearing a mask outside? What's your thought process? No comment.
I just feel like I have to wear it. I don't know why. I just want to wear it. Yeah, I guess like my friends wear them, so I'm like, I might as well just too. I feel like I won't take off my mask until everybody does.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just, there's a lot of anxieties with taking the mask off, for the first time. So it's
because it's been so long.
Yeah, it's like a social anxiety at this point. It's just, mental well-being and stuff. I personally still wouldn't want to take the risk anyway. I don't trust anyone else, so I'm just doing it for my own
Even if
health.
the science said it was like basically impossible, it still doesn't matter?
I had to throw the sheep noises on there at the end, but
well, or lemmings. Is there a cliff nearby?
I don't know what kind of noise they make, but probably just.
I don't know.
I don't know either. But my friends are still wearing them. I don't want to do it until everybody stops. Well, if you wait till everybody stops.
I'm sorry, I'm out here in Idaho. We did it, and in Canyon County, Boise was still, you had too many Californians and lefties move in. And so they were wearing them all. Everything was all locked down. Boise was and out in the country, it's like, blow it in your ear.
Yeah.
We went to the grocery store without it. It's like, I don't care. I'm not wearing it. We never got it. So, and we drove across the country.
Yeah.
People still look at me weird. We bought our daughter and son-in-law's car. It was very nice, and we got one hell of a deal. And so then we went, visited, and drove it from the East Coast all the way back to Idaho. 3,200 miles in 7 days. We didn't wear a mask in the car or anywhere else.
Yeah, because everybody was afraid to go out. But we did the same thing. The only reason I wore a mask is if you couldn't get in the grocery store, and we needed groceries. But those grocery Nazis were the mask Nazis were they were sitting there at the front door. I don't know if Kroger did that, but I know if you didn't have it on, you had too many of these sheep inside the store that would just kind of look at you like you're killing grandma. They said on the TV that you're going to be killing grandma if you don't wear a mask. It's like
one of the hotels in Bismarck, North Dakota, because we went up that way and around. You had to wear it in the lobby. And then we went to go get something to eat at a sports bar that was like half a mile from where the hotel was.
Yeah.
Not a mask in sight. The waitresses, nobody's wearing a mask. It was just normal. So it was wonderful. You could eat without having to go in with a mask on. It was stupid.
And I've said this before. I went through my chemo and radiation in 2022, and the only time the nurses even wore a mask was when they put the needle into my port for my chemo. Everybody, and then we just took it off, and we were fine. But they do that whether there's COVID or not. So just so there's no bacteria or whatever. But it's like, so maybe it was the redneck clinic I went to. But I mean, I'm glad. I'm glad I live where I live because, man, I just can't even imagine. And just to remind everybody, the masks were, no matter what, were ineffective. And there was a 2021 article. I actually had it saved for a long time, but it was on my old computer, so I don't know if it's gone or not. But USA Today published a story that on their website, it's been deleted, that the COVID molecule is between 0.06 and 0.14 microns. Okay, keep that in the back of your head. N95 masks filter out 3 microns and above. So common sense says it's like stopping a swarm of bees with a chain link fence. It's not going to be very, very effective. So
That's a very good analogy. I like that one.
it's just not, it never worked. Yeah. So anyway, we thought that would be a fun story for everybody to kind of laugh at these lefties that are still wearing the masks and everything. So
we've been doing other than the second segment, it's all been yuckity. There's been
and we recorded that one for the YouTube
we
channel.
needed to have a serious side for once, so the people know that we can be serious. It's difficult for us, but we can be serious.
They're not all caps. I mean, a couple of my teeth are real. I mean, that's why we smile so much. Anyway, we do have a palate cleanser. The rest of the story, something Richard sent me just the other day. One thing that I never expected. This is a person in history that you would never guess had a really, really big heart, even though he had a dark side. So here we go.
The rest of the story. They were some of the baddest, hardest times that ever came upon us. The Great Depression of the 1930s. And yet, while it was all that most folks could do to look out for themselves, there was one very rich man who took the public welfare into his own hands. He was so rich, so financially diversified, that the stock market crash barely affected him. In this, he felt he had been blessed. And so in the autumn of 1930, he secured a huge old building in the city, and he created what must have been the world's largest soup kitchen. I mean big. A sign out front said free food for the workless, and inside 3,000 unemployed were fed every day. After 120,000 meals had been served, folks stopped counting. At Thanksgiving, 5,000 turkeys were provided. At Christmas, an overwhelming celebration. And this is particularly significant. The benefactor tried to remain anonymous. When questioned, relief workers simply announced that a well-known philanthropist was behind it all. Well, in the wake of widespread and increasing gratitude, people became increasingly curious as to the identity of this philanthropist. So newspaper reporters went looking for Mr. Good Deed, and they found him, this very rich man, and he proclaimed this message for all of the nation's very rich men. He said honor and truth and the law were falling from public respect. He said he feared that communism would seize its opportunity to seduce the American worker. And the remedy Mr. Good Deed declared was the generosity of America's wealthy. He said, we can't wait for Congress or Mr. Hoover. Herbert Hoover, of course, was then president. He said, we can't wait for Congress. We can't wait for Mr. Hoover or anyone else. We must help to keep tummies filled and bodies warm if any of us are to survive. That's a quote. To many people, the revelation of Mr. Good Deed's identity came as no surprise. Because months prior to his benevolent gesture, I mean months before, the Medill School of Journalism had voted him among the 10 outstanding personages in the world. I mean right up there with George Bernard Shaw and Henry Ford and Lindbergh and Gandhi and Einstein. He was remarkably accessible as celebrities go. He loved baseball games and horse races. He was sometimes cheered by thousands of sports fans as he entered a stadium, often mobbed by well-wishers hoping to shake his hand. He supported the Boy Scouts. He sided with motion picture censors and anxious parents, anybody seeking to abolish gangster movies. He said they're doing nothing but harm to the youngsters of this country. But when it came to charity, he did more than pontificate. He contributed. He put his money where his mouth was. And now you'll always remember the man who opened a mammoth soup kitchen for the jobless in November of 1930 in Chicago. The great public benefactor, the thoughtful philanthropist who saw welfare as a remedy for communism, Mr. Good Deed. Al Capone? Al Capone. And now you know the rest of the story.
Boy, that one surprised me. I had no idea.
It's like, well, who is this guy? I mean, I don't know if I've heard. That's who he's talking about.
I would have thought D.L. Moody or somebody, but I think that was, definitely surprising. So he had a soft side. Nothing we ever saw portrayed in a movie.
Well, that's kind of along the lines of Robin Hood. I mean, he was divested because he didn't just rob banks. He took care of...
Who is that that Medellin cartel guy down in Colombia? What was his name? I can't remember. But we saw a special about him, and he was big in his community down there, where he built schools. He built all kinds. I mean, the community itself in Medellin loved this guy, and I cannot think. But he was a drug cartel guy. But I mean, they loved him. So I mean, maybe that's not so atypical of I don't know.
Wowzer.
Anyway. We hope you were somewhat informed and had fun like we did. We had too much fun, I think. Don't forget you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, iHeart, Amazon Smart Speaker, Rumble, or wherever you get your podcasts.
And you'll find us every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on the OracleTalkRadioNetwork.com. Enjoy us on your drive home. You can get the apps for Apple and Android, or you know what, just go to our website, StayOffMyLawn.us, for all our past and present episodes.
As you type it in, you got to go, Stay Off My Lawn. It should get you there a lot faster, makes your internet faster. So we'll see you next week, folks.
Toodles, thanks so much for listening, folks. If you loved us, tell a friend. We would appreciate it. Have a great week. Well, we had fun and hope you did too. The opinions heard here today are not those of anyone other than Mike and Richard. If it made you laugh or go, or even, then we've done our job. Sort of. Mostly anyway. And if we made you think about things in a common sense manner, we welcome you to the club. And if it didn't, then just stay off my lawn. See you next time.